Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing excellent. Before we get started on today's project, I want to make a very exciting announcement. We have been working on this for a little while now, and we finally have a merch line started. So we have a t-shirt design featuring the beautiful white FC with the gold wheels. We have stickers and lanyards, and coming up soon we'll be following it up with some air fresheners, as well as some designs for the Z and the FD. So stay tuned for those coming out. And this site is through a company called Redline Customs, close friends of ours, and the shirts are made to order. So this isn't a pre-order. When you order it, they produce it for you, so you can get it in short sleeve, long sleeve, women's sizes, hoodies as well. So we look forward to seeing some support on all of that. As you know, these sorts of things help the channel a lot. But if you donated to the GoFundMe when the old FC got burnt, please hit us up on our Instagram. That's more_garage, at more_garage on Instagram. Send me a message, because we are going to send you a care package with a shirt of your choice and some other goodies as well. So thank you for all of you who have shown such amazing support for us through the ups and downs, and the growth on the channel is doing great, and we're very excited to launch a really cool design. As you can see, the shirt design is a pretty simple, beautiful view of the FC3s RX7. And it just says our YouTube logo on the sleeve. So it's a great gift for anybody who maybe doesn't even watch a channel, not super into YouTube, but is a fan of rotaries, fan of the FC3s RX7. So with that said, we're excited to show that off for you guys. Let's dive into today's project. What I want to work on here is getting the FC a little bit better drivability wise. So when I'm going down the road at freeway speeds, there's a slight wobble in the steering wheel. There's a couple things I want to look at to troubleshoot that. Obviously, one of the first things we want to think about is wheel bearings. But I really have very, very minimal play when I check those things on both sides. And I'm kind of interested in first replacing the tie rod, the outer tie rod, and the lower control arm ball joint. Now the tricky thing about that is that on the S5 FC, with all the benefits that it does come with, such as better rear iron, higher compression rotors, better spool, more updated exterior, better, more desirable taillights, blah, blah, blah. There are some weird things on the S4, such as the differential, which you know we're working on getting switched, is just a mushy, viscous, open diff. And the lower control arms are a non-serviceable part from Mazda, which means that you can't change out the ball joints. So luckily we have an S4 sitting on the side of the house, which we're slowly pulling parts off of, that we won't need on the rebuild, because we're going to use completely aftermarket lower control arms. So we're going to use completely aftermarket differential setup, because it's going to be a hardcore track car. So since we have access to that, I'm going to go pull the control arms off of the S4 FC, and I'm also going to need the sway bar end links, which are better on the S4 for some reason. More desirable. I don't know if better is the right exact way to describe them. So I'm going to grab those, and I have some new goodies, and we're going to go ahead and put this on the right-hand drive FC today. Okay, so as we come over here, we do not have enough space to hide things for our future reveal, so I just want to show you what's going on here. Some of you probably already saw, we removed the subframe, got it all fancied up here, and we're going to be replacing these bushings and taking this clutch type 1.5 way LSD, putting it on the S5. We've got this old exhaust system, which Jeff and I are going to be working to make a custom, just to use the Y pipe and the nice mounting points, because it fits up under the car nicely. We're going to be replacing these with some products that's coming today. We're going to take out the restrictions and the weird reductions and make that a custom exhaust, so that's coming up soon too. But right here I have some nice OEM ball joints, Mazda genuine parts, brand new, looking beautiful. So over here, as we continue with the spoilers, look what we got here. This is going to be our fan setup or something like that. This is a Griffin dual flow radiator, and underneath it is an intercooler. We're making a nice V-mount setup in here, another custom piece of work. But for right now, I'm focusing right down here. We want these bad boys right here. And I'm not gonna have to pop these ball joints off because I'm just gonna unbolt them from here, which is the serviceable part I was talking about. And these tie rod ends actually are brand spanking new. I put these on just before we went to the dyno day, only a few weeks before she caught fire. So the other thing is I'm going to be losing this, or this hub is going to come off. So if worst case scenario it is continuing to be wheel bearings, I'm going to be able to get this hub serviced, either doing it ourselves or sending it out, because it is a bit of a pain. So we'll figure that out if we want to tackle it on our own. But I can get these serviced, take the other ones off, and always have ones to swap in and out while we're keeping the car rolling, so we don't have to just stop and wait for a long time. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, I'm going to pop these off as quickly as I can. Alright, so I got both these off. I kept the knuckles on just for ease, and I just kind of wanted to check something. So this, hopefully you can see, so I'm pulling on it, there's zero play. Look at this one. Can you see that? Can you hear that? So that is a bad wheel bearing. So we're going to do the same inspection on the other ones and see where we're at. So now I'm going to do my best to clean these up. I'm kind of tight on time today to film this up and get it out for you guys, but we're going to go ahead and try, give these a quick power wash treatment just to get them looking a little bit better. Then we're going to start pulling these off on the other FC. Okay, so I actually lied. I couldn't pass up the chance to polish up that aluminum. Still has some of its patina, but I put it to the wire wheel and the grinder wire wheel and got it drying over here with some nice VHT satin clear just to preserve it. That'll help things when we get under there. We want to power wash it after some road grime. It should just come right off and look better. So it didn't take too long. All right, well that's drying. I'm gonna grab these tie rods and then start working on the other FC. So I just removed the brake caliper on this side so that hopefully I can see about finding out if this bearing has any play. And I can not feel any play in it, top to bottom, even if I use two hands, which is good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pop that back on. So I'm gonna leave this knuckle connected to the coil over here, and then go ahead and dig in here and get these control arms off. Okay, Can you see the sweat? Oh my goodness. Look at around me. This broke, by the way. It's brand new and it stopped working. I already initiated the return on Amazon. But look at all the tools, ball joint separator, pry bar, hammer, that I had to use. It took me as long to get this one off as it did both on the other side. Anyway, so I mean, I guess it goes to show you there's goods and bads to untouched cars, because this has never been disassembled, never lubed, never nothing, so everything is just seized. But observe. So here is our, you can see, unlike the other one where we have these 2-bolt, I have some sitting here, yeah. So here's the new piece, goes on with 2 bolts. This is ingrained, inserted inside this control arm. So you can't adjust or change those. Also, if you noticed when I was cleaning up the other one, I already have Energy polyurethane bushings in them, and they've been in there for years. They look brand new. This is the situation with the bushings here, stock ones. Not too bad, but still getting crusty, as you can see. So we won't have to deal with that. And I'm going to go ahead and try the other side. One more thing. Here is the sway bar end link, and you can see it's kind of like a mini ball joint, which is annoying. So I guess that's why they prefer the end link type as the S4, like I just took off, because they're just through bolts and simpler and easier. Again, you can replace the bushings. This one is kind of a sloppy type of situation. So yeah, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, move all these tools the other side of the car and get that other one off. In all honesty, the other side went much smoother, which is a relief. So got both of them off. Also, just a small note, it's kind of dark, sorry, but the tie rod ends are actually in great condition. So they look much newer. These boots around the grease and the bearings, they're perfect. So I'm not going to mess with those. I'm just going to change these control arms out, put these new lower ball joints in, and take it from there. So I think I'm going to give the ones I painted just a little more time to dry, clean a few things up here, and then we'll get back to it. All right, just for reference, old versus new. I'm glad I cleaned those up. Anyway, so if you lay them on top of each other, you'll see that the dimensions are the same. The sway bar mount lines up pretty good. I wonder if I could have reused the other one, but I'm glad I'm doing this one. And then ball joint. So I'm actually going to start on the other side, since I have the big bunch of tools over here. And I'm sorry if this thing is strobing. I can kind of see it as I'm recording. I don't know how it'll be when I actually watch the footage, but it is handy. So, gonna slap this guy right back up in there. I'll probably film the other side because I got a little better light over there, but wish me luck. The main thing I'm worried about is getting this ball joint top slip back in to the fitting. This is on the back here somewhere, right down here. Okay, here we go. One thing I wanted to talk about is kind of a simple thing that people for some reason often argue about, and it is polyurethane bushings, which are the red bushings that you can see here, versus the rubber. I put these on years ago. We're talking at least 12 years ago. Obviously the car sat for a while. It did multiple track days. I drove it a lot, and these bushings have held up perfectly. So I guess, I mean, they say you put them in once, you don't have to change them. Now they do make things stiffer, that is true, but they're not solid Delrin. And the other question that people come up or talks about is that, oh, you have to lube them, you have to use grease. Now, I did grease these when I installed them, and it's more of an assembly lube to help everything seat correctly. And the idea is that you don't want to get moisture into an area that's going to cause rust, because that rust and that roughness will sand down and shave down polyurethane and even rubber bushings. So since I didn't uninstall these bushings, they don't necessarily need to be re-greased. And of course, on this control arm, they are in aluminum, so that's not an area where it's going to rust. Also, I just wanted to show you, because people are also saying that the polyurethane bushings bind, which is not true at all. So let me give you an example. Okay, make sure you can see this. Yeah, all right. So here is the bushing on this control arm, this rubber one. I can't move it by hand at all, despite my best efforts, okay? So this is the stock one. Here's the polyurethane binding bushing. Oh, can turn it easily by hand. And so that is the same situation that you'll find with any of these bushings if you check them versus a rubber or a stock one that's gone through a similar amount of miles. And that one, the stock one, has been through less recorded kilometers on this car than this polyurethane setup. So just to get that out of the way. Now, I have cleaned these off, and I am applying grease when I apply the D-shaped bolt or bracket for these. I just didn't show it on the other one. I'm about to grease this one up and throw it in. I just thought I'd mention that before anybody, well, this is later in the video, so people have probably already thrown it in the comments. But if you lasted this long or you have any questions, and if you post something like that in the comments, I am just going to link this timestamp in the video so you can get my answer and see my example. So please, please, please remember, when you are working on suspension like this, to double, triple check all your torque. Obviously, these are the structural components of the vehicle which keep you safe. You wouldn't want a wheel falling off or part of your suspension disconnecting. And a lot of these points are points of articulation, such as this control link, this bushing back here, your ball joint. So if you do over tighten those, what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to move freely, and you're going to get some suspension binding, some weird squeaks. If you're lucky, worse, it might not actuate correctly. You could have weird handling characteristics, unpredictable handling, and also you could break another component. So maybe something is not moving the way it should, it's binding, you're putting it under load, and then all of a sudden you crack or tear part of the subframe, a bolt shears, something like that. It makes things much, much worse. So make sure you check your torques. Do not ugga-dugga these connections with a air impact, and do not just TAF it and say that's good enough. Double check it with your torque wrench. Everything's nice and torqued down to the correct specs. You can see beautiful shiny control arm here, and our brand new ball joint is in place. So hopefully that helps with the wobbly steering wheel, and if it doesn't, at least I've gone through today and inspected the wheel bearings on both sides, the tie rod ends, and we have brand new OEM ball joints. Everything is refreshed on the lower suspension, and we have nice polyurethane bushing. So if I do still have a wobble or anything, that kind of brings it down to the possibility of it being I need to have the tires rebalanced. This is a mod I wanted to do anyway, so I have serviceable ball joints with this S4 style control arms. And I'm going to go ahead and drop her down, take her for a test drive. Okay, let's get this test drive. Well, the front suspension already feels better. I've got really nice turn-in response. little sharpened up from before, and that can be expected from the polyurethane bushings. They're giving less, and hopefully picked up the slop from whatever was causing the wheel to shake, so I don't have that delay anymore. Now we're getting to a stretch of road that's kind of straight. I'm gonna take my hand off the wheel here and see if we get any shaking. Oh. Dead straight. Oh man, that's awesome. I wasn't 100% sure this would fix it. Oh yeah. On this stretch of road, I used to be able to hold the handle, hold the steering wheel in my hand and feel it shaking. It's bumpy, and I've got stiff suspension, so it moves a little bit, but let's see here. Let me get it straight again. Beautiful. All right, that is awesome. All right, everyone, so another successful project. Very excited about the results. You know what to do. Leave us a like if you enjoyed the video, a comment if you have anything else to add. Check out the merch link in the description. Stay kind to each other out there, and when they ask you, tell them you want more.